Hey everyone, it's Danielle, welcoming you back to another CaliFaces video. Lev Dermen was a self-made billionaire who came to California from Armenia and built a fortune out of nothing. He lived a life of pure luxury, with private jets, multi-million-dollar cars, and lavish parties. But behind the luxurious lifestyle, it was alleged that he was the boss of LA's Armenian Mafia and the mastermind behind one of the largest tax credit schemes in U.S. history. Lev Dermen was born in Armenia in 1966. Born into a world where opportunity was scarce, Lev's family made the decision to leave Armenia in 1980 and seek a better future in the United States. They settled in Burbank, California, a city 30 minutes from Hollywood. Lev attended Hollywood High School and dreamed of having the American dream. So at 17, he dropped out of school and found work pumping gas at a gas station. The job didn't pay much, but it introduced him to the oil business, and he worked long hours and saved every penny. In no time, Lev Dermen launched his own fuel truck company, then quickly expanded, building an empire of gas stations and truck stops across Southern California. And by the age of 30, Lev Dermen was a billionaire. With all that wealth, Lev Dermen also gained power. He owned a mansion in the exclusive Bel Air neighborhood. His offices were on Rodeo Drive, and he traveled the world in private jets. But according to some, Lev's tremendous success came from more than just gas stations. It was alleged that Lev Dermen was also the boss of the notorious Armenian Mafia in Los Angeles, and as mob boss, he was known as the Lion. Local and federal law enforcement were well aware of the Armenian Mafia's illegal activities in LA, which ranged from fraud to money laundering to murder for hire. The FBI, the IRS, and the Department of Homeland Security all had open cases on Lev Dermen. One police affidavit stated that Lev was watering down the gas sold at his gas stations, making him an extra $4 million a month in profit. But despite their best efforts to arrest him, they could never get any charges to stick, making the Lion appear untouchable. Prosecutors would later allege that this was because the mob boss was paying off Los Angeles police officers. But allegations of criminal ties and mob connections didn't slow the Lion down one bit. Lev Dermen lived as large as you can get, driving through the streets of LA in luxury cars like Lamborghinis and Maybachs. He owned two $2 million Bugattis and hosted lavish parties attended by rap stars and politicians. And he never went anywhere without his off-duty LAPD officers as his bodyguards. But behind the mafia leader's lavish lifestyle, dark deals were taking place. In early 2011, Lev Dermen became involved in the largest tax credit scheme in U.S. history. Lev, along with brothers Jacob and Isaiah Kingston, devised a plan to sell and ship millions of gallons of biodiesel and then apply for tax credits from the U.S. government. But the biofuel they were selling and shipping didn't exist. Lev Dermen and the Kingston brothers created fake records and fake invoices to make it appear as though they were producing and selling biofuel, when in reality, they were laundering millions of dollars through multiple bank accounts. From 2010 to 2016, Lev Dermen and the Kingstons received over $500 million from the government, money they used to buy cars, yachts, and property across the globe. The Kingston brothers would later claim that Lev Dermen had promised to keep them all out of jail by using his mafia connections to law enforcement, judges, and lawyers who the brothers say were on the mob boss's payroll. But in 2015, a tip to the IRS set off an unstoppable investigation. And in 2016, they raided the Kingston Group and Lev Dermen, and everyone was arrested. At the trial that followed, the Kingston brothers, in exchange for lighter sentences, testified against Lev Dermen, blaming him for orchestrating the entire scheme. Lev Dermen and his lawyers, however, insisted that he was no mob boss, and they denied all involvement. But the evidence against the Lion was overwhelming. Emails, photos, and text messages showed his participation in the scheme, and prosecutors described the Mafia leader as the mastermind. After a 7-week trial, Lev Dermen was convicted on multiple felony counts and sentenced to 40 years in prison. Jacob Kingston was sentenced to 18 years, and Isaiah Kingston was sentenced to 12. But in a final twist, it was revealed that after entering prison, Lev Dermen became romantically involved with Jacob Kingston's wife, after she would come visit him when she was supposed to be visiting her husband. The two promised to run away together once Lev gets out. The mob boss will be 96 years old.